Con Man has a question about something happened pregame.
Yeah, Aaron, we showed a clip in the last hour of you shaking the hand of the Whitecap last night, and there were some theories on the internet, but my main question was how
Hat
often?
officer?
Yeah, very respectful, very solid handshake, almost like a little bro hug halfway through. Does this happen most games for you, just kind of the refs and other guys coming over, paying their respects? And is this where he told you, like, hey, I'm going to get you a few today? If there's someone that lands on you, kind of, I'm going to give you 15. And how good did you feel about the SarcastaBall poll in the post-game presser? Because that was great.
Listen, I've been a fan of South Park for a long, long time. I was fortunate enough to go to the studios one time years ago and meet Trey. I've said this, I don't know if I've said this publicly before, maybe once, but with zero sarcasm, Team America World Police got me through a dark time in my life. In 2013, I broke my collarbone. I was in a dark place. I was pissed. I'd never had like a major injury like that where I got to miss time. And I watched that movie every week the first week that I was out. And it just got me through the day, like just watching how ridiculous some of those scenes are, especially the deleted sex scene where there's some other stuff that happens. It's so incredible. But being a fan of the show, I mean, it's been a lot of great seasons. And one of the most amazing episodes, because they do some football stuff from time to time with the Broncos, was Randy Marsh and SarcastaBall, where they're just walking around with a balloon, hugging each other. And I've made a joke about how the league in some ways is getting rid of some of the violence. And some of it's good, some of the defensive player stuff is good. But as a throwback player, that's not a call that I want on Epinesa there. Like it wasn't an egregious sack. It wasn't like major contact. And I know I was a part of rule changes. There's kind of like the Brady rule when the guy went low on him and tore his ACL, and now the low hits. When Anthony Barr drove me in the ground in Minnesota, this rule kind of came into effect about body weight. I've been upset many times, and even last night, about non-pass interference calls. Never really been one to make a ton of excuses or call for flags for roughing the passer. Now, if there's an egregious one, guys, in the helmet, and I look over and they don't do it, I might say, hey, what'd you see there? But I don't think that one or the one on Kinlaw met the standards for roughing the passer. I respect and appreciate Adrian and the other Whitecaps and umpires around the league trying to protect the quarterbacks. But when we go too far with any of these rules, then we're going into the realm of SarcastaBall. Randy Marsh might be proud, but that's not really the way that I want to see it.
We ran it back.
I don't think fans want to see it.
No, nobody wants to see it. Last night there was too many flags. They put up a stat about how many penalty yards there were versus like the other. Brees Hall, I think, was in there like 150. Penalties at 204. It's like nobody's here. 169. Nobody's here for that. Ray Davis had a hell of a day.
Yeah, whoa.
Hell of a night for Ray Davis out of Kentucky. Obviously, congrats to him. 152. But nobody wants to see that. We ran your take back afterwards because a lot of people on the internet saying you're going to get fined for this for obviously criticizing the officials. Whatever SarcastaBall comes out of your mouth, you could tell like in the back of your mind.
Hit it.
That was fucking,
Gotcha.
that was good. We're proud of you.
Well, thank you. I didn't really answer the question, but there's always interaction with the refs, and some of them are more friendly than others. Some of them like you. Some of them maybe don't. I don't feel like that really happens to me. I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with all the guys, but I've known Adrian for a long time when he wasn't a Whitecap, and so it's a respect thing. It's a lot of the same stuff. But I like, there's always a little small talk about this or that, and so we had a nice laugh. But yeah, those guys are there to protect us, and again, they're out there doing a job just like we're doing a job, and we get criticized like they get criticized. And if I felt like there was a couple, questionable calls, and I said it, that's the way it is. Like, if they're gonna find me for that, okay, fine, that's part of it. But they're held to their standards. They're held to their standard as well. And as much as, we're frustrated by some of the calls, I just think if you watch playoff football, there's not a lot of calls usually. And whether that's the crews that are making it to the playoffs are calling less flags, or an emphasis on not throwing as many flags and letting players just play. But I felt like, that there were definitely a few that were, maybe questionable. I felt like the one on the goal line, when we ran the touchdown in was, I had a view of it because I handed the ball off, faked it, and turned around. And it didn't affect the play, number one, at all. Number two, felt like they were just both going to the ground. That took 7 off the board. Not only 7, but we don't convert the third down there. Then we miss a field goal, so we don't even get 3 out of it. That was a game-changing play on the 2-yard line. You don't see a lot of holdings inside the 5 in general, I would say, unless it's egregious. I just didn't feel like that met the level of being an egregious hold.
Yeah, it was crop. We think it was crop. It was crop call. Yeah, we'll say it. You just say you don't think it hits level would be egregious enough to call it in that situation, especially with the outcome of said play to kind of move forward. I did see them correct a couple things, though, with the advanced replay or fast replay or whatever it is. I think that's good. And to the officials' credit, it has not been a conversation every single Overreaction Monday that the refs blew games. Like, that's first time, long time. Usually Overreaction Monday, I am high-horsing about how shitty these refs are and how they're ruining our good game. There's only been a few of them. Last night was certainly one of them where there's a lot of flags. Go ahead.
We lost the game. We gave the game away. I'm not saying the refs ruined the game. I'm saying there were calls that impact the game, but we lost the game. Nobody's blaming the refs for the game.
No. I'm just saying normally normal NFL season, it's a lot worse, these refs. This year's actually been pretty good.
Yeah.
Been pretty good this year. So it's like, I think they are striving to get better.